Chosen ones, empaths. See, it's actually sad they had to go through this cycle, get obliterated by karma, for them to have somewhat understanding that they are the issue, that they are the problem. The point being is, it even made you sad, but they're also sad. And I want to break this illogical but understandable way of thinking when you've been hurt by a narcissist or when you're listening to expert advice or so-called expert advice. When you understand yourself and you've realized that yes, the mood fluctuates, that happiness comes in different forms and there's no permanent state, then you're aware that the narcissist or a toxic cycled individual is not exactly neutral. They're not neutral, right? Hear me out now, this is important. They go through a cycle and they're not neutral. I also want to go into this, breaking it down, how it's a karmic cycle and divine justice, bringing divine order in place is what the karmic energy restores. Whether you look at this as an instrument from the creator, the universal author, you look at it like it's an instrument that he uses, however it means, it's actually a sad situation, and that's the place I actually think might be good for you to look at. This person was important to you, this person did mean a lot to you, and you need to look at it from the standpoint of an elder, of someone who is more advanced in knowledge, of someone who is more advanced in wisdom. Detach from that self that is hurt and betrayed and broken. Rise above it. Look at it as they are a lost cause. But like I said to you, they had to get obliterated, they had to go through the cycle, they had to go through these fluctuating emotions, these sad states. They had to go through all of this cycle just to get a tad bit of understanding that, oh, they're the problem, right? Because the way their mind functions is when they start throwing salt over you, trying to destroy you, trying to smear you, trying to do these things, they start to believe this is logic. They start to actually associate this is real. Remember, they're very delusional creatures. Someone who's going through a delusion or someone who's going through something like that, they do believe it, right? And this is the point, but it's short-lived, right? This is not the same as, that's why I don't know if they classify I don't know the classification of what they associate these toxic cycle individuals are, but they do have awareness. They're not neutral. That's what I was trying to get at, right? They're not neutral, and they're not where, like, their emotions do fluctuate for other reasons that may be of a greater proportion in their own minds for something that is just water off a duck's back to you, or is nothing, right? Basically, if you something that's nothing to you, something that's irrelevant, right? It doesn't mean something, can be a high proportion in their minds and greatly damage them. What you gotta understand is at the point of the ending of these relationships, that it's not just romantic, right? At the ending of these relationships, whatever type of relationship, they're gonna go through their cycle, they're gonna go through this sort of stuff, and it's gonna take them some time to get to an understanding. But at that point of departure or exit or end, you are a lot more advanced in your foresight and your vision for them. That's why you hold on. That's why you see more. You're seeing them through a lens they don't even see themselves. They don't see themselves in that way. Remember, they have high levels of inferiority complexes, right? Feeling less than. All you did is try to build them up, and they step on the very people that tried to build them up. The people that was there, it's just the way of the world. But I know it seems like it's unfair and everything like that. That's why there's stuff like the instrument of him, the instrument of the creator, call it karma, whatever you want to abbreviate it as. It brings in an order of balance, a divine order, divine justice. And that's why they're going for a cycle afterwards. When you get to the root of the issue, that what it is it's someone that's so detached from the real them, someone who is so impulsive and makes poor choices. We all can. We can all make poor choices, but they make poorer choices. And it's self-sabotage in nature. This is why you will hurt. This is why you'll reach a place where you don't even want them to be in suffering. You actually wish that they go and find fulfillment and better themselves. But you're not waiting around for that. They return to you. You just, hopefully the lessons learned, prepare them for people that they acquaint themselves with to treat with a bit more respect, God willing. That's the kind of perspective and the heightened sense of where you need to break from that former broken part and see that. That's how you see, right? And it might sound foreign to you, but they're in a catch-22. And really, they're in a catch-22. They want to say sorry. They want to apologize. They want to say that. But they have a parasitic mind, a deviant mind, where they're saying that strategy don't make sense. It's not. That's not logic to them. It's logical to actually seek forgiveness or apologize or make amends. It's logical to do that in this world that we live in, because you coexist, and we coexist with other people, right? It's good to be decent beneath the spiritual realm. It seems like good people get stepped on, they always lose and this and that on the surface level. When you tap into what's actually happening in the spiritual realm, you ain't losing. Doesn't matter if everyone thinks that you are somehow the problem, a crazy person. This is what happens. There can be collective gaslighting and things like that happening. But there is a divine order at play, and they will go through their own form of consequences for their actions in this lifetime. We don't need to get into the next lifetime when save that for another video, or no one truly knows, because anyone who's been there hasn't really been back, right? In that sense. I'm not talking about, I want about like we have a cycle in this life as a human that we're going, and that's what we are, right? I know in the scriptures it talks about second comings. I'm not going into that. I'm talking about people that are around you that have passed sides, that have gone on to the next life. They haven't come back unless it's through some other sort of means, what people tap into these days. Some other types of things that people... Anyway, that's going off the topic. The point that I'm trying to make is we can get to that in another thing. Through this life, you face consequences for what you do. Through this life. That's why, figuratively speaking, you can have your heaven on earth here, and you can have your hell on earth here. Really, you can live in these things. And the chosen one and empath rises from the ashes, and you're not gonna be. This is not a permanent state. This emotion you're in now is not a permanent state. But they're in a catch-22 cycle loop from divine order, from karma coming into play, from the instruments of the Most High, or the Creator. The instruments that He uses has got them in a loop. Within this loop, they will have comprehension. Should they apologize? Should they say sorry? And that's why when they start to navigate down that path, it's gonna come across very inauthentic. It's gonna come across very like weird. They will do weird strategies, weird types of things, and really it's turned into more or less of a coping mechanism that they have to upkeep, that can involve the spying on you, the provoking you. They have to keep this regular upkeep of their emotions. They have to stay connected to you somewhat in some sort of way. And really, it's like, this is why I opened in the segment about it's actually sad that they're like this. Your perception of the world, the way that you take the good from situations, the way that you can uplift someone, the way that you can heal someone, as an empath that you are and a chosen one that you are, you've done this to them, and they think they can destroy that, and you're not going to turn inadvertently back at yourself, the healing, the love, the care that you give to others, and you're going to give that to yourself and restore yourself. Of course, that's the answer, right? That's what I'm saying. This state that you're in isn't permanent. If you look at life around the toxic cycle, friends, romantic relationship, family, and you look at this situation as that is good, that was fun, that was this, that was that, it's the wrong construct in your mind. It's the wrong mental construct that you have of these situations. This was someone who had deviant intentions, that wore a mask, that was playing games, that was doing this, that was doing that, and they get checked. They get reality checked for those games that they played. It's simple. They overplay their hand, and they get a reality check for the games that they played. And yes, they may have actually put you through where you have trauma and you have things. But I believe that the Creator doesn't burden a soul more than they can bear. And I want to share that with you. Your struggles and trials and tribulations are unique to you. Even though we can relate, your trials and tribulations, through empathy we can relate and stuff, it's unique to you, and you're not given more than you can handle. Don't let no one tell you, oh, it's easy to get through what you've gone through, or someone could do this stuff. No soul can burden what another soul's burdening. But the point that I'm making is the empath and chosen one goes through life. They make mistakes, they do error, they try to change their ways, they do these things. With toxic cycle people, it's in the wording, toxic cycle. This is self-sabotage. And that's why I opened today's video with you actually feel bad for them, because they sabotage their life. They sabotage their life, and there are things out there. There are things out there within so-called normal activities that can be, how can I put it? There are things there that can eradicate the human population in way. See, I can't even. It's getting very difficult to abbreviate these terminologies, right? What I'm trying to say to you is companionship or seeking or lying or cheating can have severe consequences, right, in this world. And when these things happen, we don't often turn around and say, oh, it's as a result of that. No, but the divine order and God knows what's a result of what, right? This is why we have finite minds. We can't quite comprehend the universal author's plan and what's happening. But it's clear that we can see they're in self-destructive loops and self-destructive cycles. Cheating, lying, toxic cycles, doing these things, misleading people, being a deviant. It's a toxic cycle they're in, which is self-sabotage in nature and counterproductive for the benefit of the soul and the betterment of your life and achieving actual fundamental happiness and fulfillment is not acquired through the means that they search for it through. Simple. The means that they search for these things it's not reality, right? It's not reality. It's not gonna work. They're in a place, like I said, this loop. They will have the anger, the rage, the blame, the slight evolution that they've got to, where they have a slight comprehension or an understanding that they're the problem. But they'll have coping mechanisms to put in place. They'll project. They'll try and draw you out. They'll try and bait you. They'll try and do this. They'll try and do that. It's like, you have to think to yourself, they're trying to seek for the goodness in you, where you turn pain around and you turned it into light. They're still looking for the goodness in you to resolve the situation with them, whether this is a group of friends, family unit, whatever. They're looking at you as the means to resolve the issue. And that's why they stay stuck. That's why I need you to let go. Chosen one empath. Give up on them. Reach a place of ascension where you actually can look upon the situation, because it's there, exists in you, even at the early days. exists in you, you can look upon someone's situation and say, whoa, you're going in a path of error. But they actually go in that path of error sometimes initially to aggravate you, to mislead you, to bait you. Let them go. Because remember, this is someone who is a deviant, this is someone who plays games. When they go off and lie, or they go off and cheat, and it's not just romantic, it's all types of relationships. They lie, they steal, they do this. They're actually trying to mislead you down a path of that avenue. And this is the thing. I had a friend that I knew when I was about 8, and when I got to maybe high school, he robbed some money off me. And now, when I remember seeing at the time, further down the line, when he tried to introduce me, but after I kind of made peace, and it was a little time after, but I could see there was a plan and a thing behind it, right? Where he was trying to mislead me down another path, accompanying him, because I was doing my own thing, right? That's the point. And this is the thing, people are sneaky, and it develops this means to be like that isn't in us. We're not like that. And that's why it appears that we get taken advantage of and walked over in life, and this and that, and this and that, and this and that. Don't worry about that. Things will come into full swing, into motion. These people will face things. Because I've seen it. Even that individual, their life's path, you're like, whoa, I'm glad that happened because I didn't go down a path that way. That friend that's fed the rob the money, I'm glad I didn't go down his path. But that's why I say everyone's got a unique life path. And you may align with people for a while or think you align. Really, they're not for you. Really, they're not for your path. Understand that these people that have wronged you do have the comprehension, whether it's, like I said, someone who stole something from you, someone who stole some money from you, someone who done this, someone whatever. It doesn't matter what type of relationship construct. They all have this loop that they're in where they want to apologize. It exists in them. Why does it exist in them? Because there is light within everyone, but they choose to side with the darkness. That very friend that I said that stole the money, he did apologize. And I'm not saying that because he'd done that, his life's path was as a result of what he'd done to me. Only the Creator knows why his path was like that. But I'm saying that it's a gentle guidance, sometimes losing people in your life where they go in another direction. It's a gentle nudge, like, hey, you don't want to go down that way. Chosen one empath. There's brighter things for you to follow. I hope this makes sense. Realize that does exist in their mind. Don't let this build up an urge for you to bridge the gap. As I say, I've broken down what I'm trying to say. I've mentioned in other videos where I talk about bridging the gap and stuff, but I don't think people quite fathom what I mean. I know it's quite a simple term, but don't be the one who tries to build the building blocks back to them. Don't allow building blocks to be built back towards you, and reach a place of ascension where you actually wish them genuine happiness and fulfillment in their own lives, whoever these people are. And that's why that friend that I said that robbed, he got closer to God later in life and things like that. So maybe things will work out in a mysterious way. But you can't align with people that have wronged you. Well, not that people have wronged you, because you can forgive people that have wronged you, but toxic creatures, the ones that are in these karmic cycle loops, the ones that are very, 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 very far from the right path. And you saw they were far from the right path when the mask come off. Hope this makes sense. Thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. I really appreciate every single one of your support. If you would like to book a one-to-one session with me, you can always find a link in the description box below. There's going to be an important video that I want you to see that will be in the description box below as well. If I can find it, you'll see it there. I'll put a point in. It's very important. That will be in the description box below as well. If I can find it, you'll see it there. I'll put a point in. It's very important. It's about how karma gives them a void that will never ever be filled without your presence. I hope it helps, and I'll be back with another video soon. Peace.